Well, the birds have all flown south for the winter, but the Washington, D.C. region SCCA Virtual Racing League heads north of the American-Canada border for the 7th round of the 2023 Fall Championship. Welcome to SimTV, and they've sent us our geese, but we send them our racers. Tonight is the 7th round of the season. Kyle Heyer joined by Connor Horn. Connor, welcome aboard. This place rocks. Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, better known by race fans as Mosport in Bowmanville, Ontario. Hasn't changed much since it was built decades and decades ago. It's one of the only tracks in North America that retains its original configuration other than just a widening. I love this racetrack. It's fast, it's flowing, and it's the site of our 7th round with our two-class championship, the Porsche Cups and the touring cars.
Yeah, definitely going to be a fun one, a very fun track in almost any car combination. Hosted some truck races in the NASCAR side of things. Those are incredibly fun. Always multi-class racing. It's always a blast here. And it's going to be another blast as well. Not updated, but I think it makes for a little bit better racing because there's really no room for error at a track like this.
Yeah, certainly this track is a little long in the tooth as far as the graphical configuration goes, but the track now sports some paved runoff in places that we don't have here in iRacing. That just makes it all the more challenging to stay on course throughout the night. 2.46 miles, just shy of 4 kilometers in this 10-turn configuration. Here's what it looks like from high above here, Connor. A lap here, it's all fast, it's all flowing. The only time you really actually slow down is Moss Corner. That's turns 5A, 5B, 5C at the far left of your screen. And you're carrying so much speed into that and using gravity to slow you down. It just feels like every corner you're charging hard here at Mosport.
Yeah, there's really no room for error, no room to really lay back. You have to be pushing at all times because these corners, most of them are so fast, you can't lose any momentum or else you're probably going to lose position. But there's still, even through that, probably only going to be one main passing zone, mainly turn 8. You get slipstream up that hill, I think the Andretti straightaway it might be called, through 6 and 7. You can maybe make an attempt there. You might see some action in 9 and 10 as well. And who knows what could happen in the 5A, B, and C. We might see some daring passes down the hill and then through that tight 2-turn part of the track. That might get interesting as well.
Yeah, it's one of the most picturesque corners in all of motorsport, this run down to Moss Corner. It's a wild dive down several stories into the entry to Moss Corner, then up onto the exit onto that long straightaway, as you mentioned. There's a look at Michael Montello heading up into the touring car class, and then all the way to turn number 8. This is a great passing opportunity, but it's high commitment. You can't just roll in there alongside somebody and expect to get the top spot or any spot. You have to go in there and be ready to muscle your way through turn 8, through turn 9, and then hopefully get it done by turn 10, which is the final corner on the racetrack.
Yeah, we've seen plenty of battles and rather ugly in turn number 10. Hopefully that's not the case today, but you just never know. No runoff out of that corner. So you make contact, it's going to be tough to really deal with it if you're the other driver getting kind of bent out of shape and pushed off the track. As we look into qualifying here, 4-lap qualifying, 15 minutes. Michael Montello's on his 3rd lap of 4. He's currently pretty high up in his class, actually top of the board in his class by about 2/10 over Ken Alseal.
Yeah, and that's the quickest lap that he's run is just shy of about 1 minute and 27 seconds around here. As far as the Porsche Cup leaders, it's currently Morgan Burkhardt in the number 2. That's that PRG Porsche we have a look at right now. Christopher Lapras is joining us once again in the Porsche category. Nice kind of metallic and matte contrasted livery here with the highlighter yellow stripes. Of course, Jack Chrissy joins us again as well with that Flying Lizard Motorsports paint scheme that is so synonymous with Porsches over the years here in motorsport. Paul Darling got that Muradness livery on his car, goes to the top of the board that time through at a 1:17.693. I know that DJ Alessandrini also has himself a new livery here this week, and that is that of his podcast, the Lizard Brains podcast. Look at that paint scheme, Connor. That's a sharp one.
Definitely pops out. If it didn't pop out enough when he's at the front battling for the win in this Porsche class, that scheme will definitely turn some heads, as he's been turning some heads in this series past few weeks, getting elbows out with Elaine Huang, who I don't believe is here tonight. So we'll see what type of race DJ has on his hands tonight, definitely a sporty livery. He's on his first lap, completing that right now.
Yeah, relatively cool temperatures as well, under 85 degrees track temp, which is pretty cool. You can see that's relatively cloudy skies as well. And so that will mean that for now, we will have a pretty high grippy surface as DJ goes third quick on his first lap out. Murphy Nichols again in the lone Hyundai Veloster N Turbo. Love this car. It's very unique in that there was a lot of discussion over this past week of which of the TCRs suited any particular drivers the best. Murphy said that if he could just be more aggressive on the brakes, he thinks he could outbrake anybody in this car. It seems like the characteristics of it lend itself to big dives into braking zones, and he just has to commit full time to that brake pedal and slow the thing down. It's got ABS. You just have to lean on it to let it do its work.
He's going to have big commitments to upbrake people into that corner, a set of corners you just went through. You really have to use a lot of brake, which you might not think you have to, but even though it's very far downhill in the Moss corner, you still have to get hard on the binders, but you can't get too hard on them. You lock up at the wrong time, you're going to miss that first right hand, or the exit of it at least. You're going to be out to the left in that grass. It is going to be very hard to get out of it and not lose a ton of time. So that's definitely going to be a trouble spot, I think, tonight. We might even see it the very first lap. We might see it in the last few laps, as it looks like he's really sliding that thing.
Yeah, big lateral slide there for the number 5 of Murphy Nichols. Jack Chrissy goes back up to second. DJ knocked down to 5th in the number 61. He might have some defense or offense to play tonight, starting from a bit deeper in the field if he can't jump himself up the order. Jamison Huffman has joined us here as well. Alessandrini now goes to third. There's Huffman. And 2022 Spec Miata Runoffs champion Nick Bruni is here as well in the number 29. He's working his way up the back straightaway.
He's on his second lap. First lap was not able to count. But he's trying to get a handle of it right now up the straightaway. I just think he's trying to warm the tires up maybe just a little bit more, because I think he slid them a little bit as he comes up through 8.
And keeping tires warm and getting them up to temp in time is going to be important tonight because of that aforementioned temperature swing that we noted. It's relatively low temps here up in Canada. Ryan Carwile up to third in touring cars. Ken House-Seal just went second quick. Here comes Bruni. And that time of 26.9. That will also not count, so we'll see if he can pick up any more. There's House-Seal on his cool down there in the Gathers Honda Civic. And then Francois Brou working his way around in a similar Honda as well, up to 12th that time.
Yeah, up to 12th, so not too bad, not too shabby. There's still a number of drivers on track. Alessandrini is probably the closest to completing a lap. He's actually coming through the final corner right now, still trying to get to that pole position potentially.
He's in the green. He should get it this time, I think, and it's going to be a 1:17.489. Not quite. That'll put him second, though, with a lap to go.
It's going to be a little bit tougher to pass tonight. A little bit of a lack of passing opportunities. You're going to have to get elbows out maybe in certain corners, which DJ is no stranger to that, so maybe it won't be that big of a challenge for him, but you don't really want to give up the pole at a track like this. Getting the pole here and being able to get the clean air from the jump, very important, but a big slide. That might have ended it right there, and it will. Yeah,
he was in the green 0.2 of a second as well on that lap, so that's going to put him down the order. Darren Treacle back again. A lot of Hondas, it seems like, this week. And one of the discussions was the Honda in particular maybe struggling leaving corners, but it's Hyundai, Honda, Hyundai, Honda, Hyundai, Honda. The top 6 right now, pretty even split between those. And that continues all the way down to 10th, where we find Ryan Christoph, past current SCCA member and past runoffs competitor Ryan Christoph in the Audi. There's a couple of those Audis tonight, including Mike Kelly in the number 56. He will also join us in the Audi machinery, but for the most part, it seems like Hyundai and Honda is the meta here tonight.
And no BMWs. We've seen not too many BMWs all season long, but
that would be the GT4.
Yes.
Yeah, which they typically would run together. But now, also, I think in a British touring car, they've got a BMW that sort of a TCR. It's a touring car.
Yeah, close enough.
Close enough. Here's Franz Hansen in the number 44. Huizingveld Porsche, bright orange colors, and he has currently scored 7th place. And it looks like he is well in the red on this lap. He's not going to go faster, but he has 1 left to go if he can get it all souped back up. Murphy Nichols jumps to 4th, by the way, in that Hyundai Veloster.
Yeah, good lap for Nichols. Hansen actually spun on this lap, actually. Spun out of turn 2 down the hill, which could also be a trouble spot if you get the rear of this Porsche kicked out even a little bit. That transition, just elevation-wise, is really going to throw the car out, especially when you're throwing it around like this to get that perfect apex, and kind of a double apex at this part of the track. All clean this time, though, so he'll try to aim for a little bit of a better lap.
And turn 2, you talk about the corners of the racetrack that'll bite you. We talked about Moss Corner. We talked about turn 8. Turn 2, that's a place you just crash on your own. And that has been rectified somewhat in the real world with additional pavement runoff. You don't have that here at iRacing. The grass used to be more deadly than it is. If you touch the grass tonight, you'll probably be able to save it because of the changes iRacing has made. Previously, that was basically a write-off anytime you touch the grass at 2. I don't think that's the case anymore, but you still want to keep all 4 tires on the black stuff here for the entire duration of this race, which we haven't even mentioned yet. This is one of the longer races of the season, Connor. Instead of the 30-minute race tonight, we have a 45.
Yeah, it's going to make things a little bit easier as far as trying to frantically get through the field. You're not really going to be trying to do that because you have a little bit more time on your hands. It still might fly by rather quickly, minute 17 laps, minute 18 on average for the Porsches, and then maybe about 9 seconds slower for the TCRs as Hansen just parks it, as Wiltek Heidecek running some laps as well, already done with his run. So yeah, might a little longer, don't have to be as frantic on the start, but I think what's going to be frantic is how these multiple classes interact tonight as well.
Yeah, that's been a topic of discussion every round we've done. Watkins Glen was our most recent trip, and that was a couple of weeks ago. We, of course, had our kind of comic relief session last week at Oran Park with the Legends cars, but a couple of weeks ago, it was really intense. There was a lot of upset drivers at Watkins Glen, especially at the pointy end of the Porsche field. We documented the issues between DJ Alessandrini and Iling Hung. They had a run-in and had some words after the race as well, but they were able to sort it out, thankfully. Just mistakes and expectations and maybe missed assumptions. It's just really intense at the top of the order, Connor, and I don't think that'll change tonight. I do think that the back straightaway is a pretty good place to clear traffic, and you can kind of sneak around this racetrack in some areas. It does have some wider lines, like here at turn 3, you can kind of tuck up underneath it, and you can make it happen, but there are definitely places where the performance of the touring cars and the Porsches are not going to be all that different, in particular heading into the braking zone here into Moss Corner. I'd expect that the TCRs could actually brake later because of their ABS here.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a very awkward spot when these two classes intertwine into Moss Corner. That's really, like you said, probably going to be the main trouble spot for multiple class racing. Getting contact through there, the braking's rather similar. As we look at our qualifying results, no one else is going. Paul Darling will get pole over Alessandrini. But yeah, that's definitely going to be one of the trouble spots, one of the biggest trouble spots. But it's not going to be the only one. Turn 8 could be trouble as well, because that's not really a corner you want to go too wide through either, and that might get tight if a Porsche is trying to go around the outside even. Yeah,
disregard Justin Huffman there. That number board will change colors here momentarily. Elias Roman on pole in the touring car category. Ken Houseel, Ryan Carwell, a lot of the same players up there, but Murphy Nichols has been just knocking on the door. He's been on the podium a couple of times, knocking on the door for a win. Could tonight be his night? Adam Kobach, a strong run there, 5th in class, and a pretty good spread of the manufacturers. I think we're still missing maybe a couple more Audis as an opportunity here to spread the level a little bit. But Connor, as we get set for this 45-minute race tonight, I think a big key to this is just getting through the opening lap, yes, but also the first run through traffic, I think, is going to be a key here. The lap time difference is about 8 to 9 seconds a lap. It's a pretty quick lap, just like Watkins Glen was. So we're going to get to lap traffic at least twice. That first run through and the touring cars are all packed up. That's a critical period in time that you just need to make sure that you're hitting all your marks and not getting yourself caught out early on with mistakes getting through traffic.
Yeah, the mistakes are going to have to be limited for sure, because this is a track with the way the layout is. You don't have the runoff out of turn 2 that you might want to use. It's very easy to make mistakes at a track like this. Like you said, the grass not as deadly, but a wheel off will definitely slow you down and lose you a bunch of time in track position. So you really cannot afford to make any mistakes. And another thing that's going to play, once we keep talking about the elevation changes, are pretty insane here. Some of the bigger elevation changes at a track like this compared to almost any other track. Not many tracks rival it, but it's going to be very interesting to see how both these cars deal with it.
Yeah, the elevation kind of happens on a micro and macro scale. You can see how quickly things change at turns 2 and turns 4, but then you also gain elevation slower over the course of the lap between 5C and 8, and then between 10 and 2. So there are some pretty big swings in elevation over the course lap. It is like a roller coaster, and our buddy Tom O'Gorman, also fellow SCCA member, also has said in the past that Mosport is the only track that eclipses Watkins Glen, which is my favorite racetrack. He says Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Mosport. This is the place everyone's got to drive. This is what gets his engine going here. But here's a look from high above. Another quick look at the weather. Track temps up almost to 100 degrees here. It is cloudy. We could see that drop down here late in the day, especially as we work our way towards about 3 in the afternoon here on race day here in the simulator. But let's go through our starting lineup here, Connor, before we get too much further and get things out of the way. Kicking things off on the front row in the Porsches is Paul Darling in the number 155. DJ Alessandrini starts alongside him on the outside of the front row.
Interesting front row to watch. And then row number 2, also interesting to watch. It's going to be third position behind them. The third place, Jack Chrissy, and Christopher Lapros is going to be starting fourth.
And starting behind them, it's Morgan Burkhardt in the number 2. He rolls off fifth. Jake King, 6th in the number 39.
Seventh position, Franz Hansen, who had a little bit of a spin in qualifying. Tala Sadiq, who's always seemingly starting around 7th or 8th. He'll start 8th today.
And John Schwartz, 9th in the number 27 Porsche. Ed Harris rolls off 10th in the number 8.
11th place, Jay Robinson, the number 321. Then alongside him, the 528, Richard Sawicki.
And then it's Justin Huffman in the 34. Deacon Greenfield rolls off on the outside of row 7 in the number 32.
15th place is going to be Nick Bruni, and then Jameson Huff and Ryan Maloney are going to be starting Porsche class as well, but on pole in the TCR class will be Elias Roman.
Yeah, nice good run there for Elias in qualifying. Ken House-Seal and Ryan Carwile will start second and third, and then in fourth place it'll be Murphy Nichols. Adam Kovac starts in fifth, Connor.
And 6th place, Michael Mantello, who's always aggressive but always fast in the TCR class. He'll start 6th. Darian Taggart will start alongside him in 7th, or at least next to him. Close.
Yes, Darren Treacle in 8th place, the number 70. Lex Kiricek 9th, the number 67. Then it's Ryan Kristoff and Wojtek Heidecek starts 11th.
12th place, Francois Brew, who we saw in the number 69 Honda Civic. Trenton McMillian in the 13th position. Then 14th position, just behind them, Anthony Montello making the start tonight, and then Bob Shoemaker in 15th.
And just a couple more cars to get through. Nathan Brackman in 16th in the number 31. Then Mike Kelly in the number 56. There's those Porsches you mentioned. They'll start at the tail of the Porsche grid. They won't have to start in line behind anybody else. That's your running order, your starting order at the very least, as we make our way around for the pace lap for a split start here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Here's that dive down through turn 4 into Moss Corner. And this is the last time you're going to get to look at it at any kind of pedestrian pace. Next time, these flat 6 engines will be screaming down the hill, followed by the 4-cylinder turbos of all the touring cars in tow.
Yeah, they just went 50 miles an hour down at pace speed. They'll be going 100 miles an hour faster than that once they come back around. Rather big difference. Got to catch your bearings, and you probably don't want to be side by side through there. These Porsches and the TCR class are probably going to try their best to get sorted out before that entry to the corner, but no guarantees.
Porsche grid works their way up the back straightaway. The touring car grid as well. Getting heat in the tires is critical here, especially with the low track temperature. Roman sliding that car around, trying to build temperature any way he can. And this didn't used to work in iRacing, but yes, it does work, and you should do it, I think, as long as you can do it safely without running into somebody. You should absolutely get those tires up to temp while you have the opportunity to. The Porsches don't seem quite as desperate to do so, but it still seems like the touring car drivers getting everything they can out of it. As the field rolls through turns 9 and 10, it's round 7 of the 2023 Fall DC Region SCCA Virtual Racing League season here in iRacing. 2 classes, Porsche 992 Cup cars and the touring cars. As they roll out of turn 10, coming to the green flag, in command of Paul Darley. Green flag flies, and we're racing at Mosport. Good clean getaway for the most part. Lapras on the outside. Jake King trying to cross him over. A little bit of tight quarters in the background. Franz Hansen in the 44 goes around.
Oh, look out, everyone else. He'll go into the wall pretty hard. He'll be the only casualty for now. Meanwhile, TCR class is underway. Elias Roman is away with the lead in there. We already have a car wide that might have been Carwile, but he keeps it straight.
It was Carwile, so he will wrestle the car back on track. 3 abreast into turn 2. And I think they're past the critical zone as well. The Porsches into Moss Corner for the first time. Darling, Alessandrini, Jack Chrissy, Morgan Burkhardt. You're just trying to prevent locking up the tires here. That's the big key. You're going to drag that right front if you get in here too hot.
And also can't play bumper cars as well. A few drivers almost got into each other. Ed Harris almost had a shot. And so Wiki, that was incredibly close. Now TCR is wiggly down into this corner here. That was Murphy Nichols I was worried about, but they all kept it straight, and they're pretty much already single file. Looked like Heidecek's trying to make a move, but nothing doing there. As the run up the hill into turn 8, Alessandrini, I thought he would have a shot. He's already close to Paul Darling, but nothing quite yet.
And these opening laps are going to be pretty wild as everyone's so close together. They're just bump drafting nose to tail. Now on the front straightaway once again, Darling into turn 1, and you see Jack Chrissy just peeking out underneath Alessandrini through the first corner. DJ's been held honest by Yiling Huang in the last couple of rounds. Could Darling do it tonight? He did it at, was it back at Road Atlanta, where he was able to claim a victory there as well?
I believe so. It was Road Atlanta. We definitely had a different outcome. I think that was also another 45-minute race, so
yes,
something to talk about there with just having the longevity. Extra 15 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but it does make a big difference as far as everyone's mentality going into these races.
Watch the braking zone close up. Look at Chrissy on the attack there. That was really aggressive.
Yeah, definitely tried something there. Really got pretty single file and pretty orderly after the incident with Hansen. He's since returned to the track. He actually didn't pit anything but left front damage regardless. Single file all the way up through the hill.
While the Porsches continue to run nose to tail, so do that of the drivers in the touring car class. Roman over Halseal by 0.6 of a second. Here's Darren Treacle chasing Lex Kiricek in the 67. 2 Honda Civic Type Rs chasing a third. That's Kovac, who's dropped 2 spots in the opening going here from 5th back to 7th. And then Ryan Carwile, who we saw wide early in turn 1. He's dropped a few spots from his starting position of 3rd.
It looked like someone had a lockup in the TCR class as well into Moss Corner, but nothing bad there. As you can see, one of the Porsches, I think, trying to see who that was. I think that was Nick Bruni, just trying to get through after starting from the pits. Getting Greenfield, I don't even know if he started this race. Either way, he's dropped out. Meanwhile, Darling still leads. Alessandrini giving him a little bit of a gap to work with.
Yeah, 3/4 of a second for now. Traffic is going to be what brings them all back in together. But as the field, oh, look at big defense there for Murphy Nichols on Michael Montello. He threw the block on him down into turn 1.
We've seen Montello get his elbows out a lot this season. Shocked Nichols took the chance to do that, but it did work. Montello's not going to have a run down the hill into turn 2 to really do anything, but certainly not going to appreciate that much.
He said, "You want that spot? You got to take it from me." And we don't typically see Murphy being all that aggressive. That might have stepped over the line a bit, but it's fun to watch Murphy really get the elbows out and really race. He tends to be kind of a passive driver in that he's got pace, but won't necessarily do anything that puts anybody around him at risk. Crash! Ryan Christoph hard into the barriers at turn 3.
That is definitely a race done. An odd spot with the overcorrect. I saw him battling with Heidecek of lap 1. We'll see if they came together. Looks like they still battled. Big dive there, but Heidecek kind of missed the corner.
Yeah, they just get hooked together.
Just got hooked.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's a big hit there for Christoph. It actually looks like he didn't even really intend to go by. It seemed like Heidecek checked up and maybe caught Christoph by surprise. Then he goes up the inside, kind of washes out a touch. They just kind of get tangled, and then look out, hook to the left, and then pow into the wall. That's a big hit.
It's an ugly angle. It's 2 nights in a row we've seen ugly angles, whether it's oval or road course, it can happen, but that'll definitely take him out of tonight's race. It looked like just Heidecek kind of forgot where the corner entry was, but either way, he's safe. Unfortunately, we got another crash. That is Sawicki off.
Nice livery on this car. Shame it's got some damage on it already. Just lost it on his own into turn 3. Same corner as we saw Christoph have an issue, but that time oversteer rather than understeer. When you hit the wall with the front of the car versus the back of the car. And there's your leaders again. Alessandrini chasing Darling in the 992 Cup category. And just 0.3 of a second between those in touring car. Halseal a little wider. This is exiting 3. Here comes Nick Bruni through the front of the field.
Everyone's giving Bruni some room to get through, which is kind of throwing that battle a little bit off. Lex Kiricek there and Treacle pretty close in behind, a little further behind for this battle, and Halseal really checked up by Bruni that time, still checked up, almost making contact. It's going to kill his run down the straightaway. Here comes Murphy Nichols.
Yeah, that was a great opportunity for Nichols, and he's going to take the attack here to Ken Halseal. That momentum is stunted. He's going to look left or look right. He's going to stay in line, but now peek to the right. Is anybody else going to try to come up into this mix? Montello's not close enough. Doesn't have the legs in the Elantra.
They might work together to try to get back to Elias Roman, but nope, never mind. Murphy Nichols will be inside.
Look out. Front wheel drive.
What a save. That was incredible.
Pack that throttle back to the floorboards. Up the inside comes the Elantra.
Ooh, Montello, I think, thought better of it. I think he's getting fed up with Murphy Nichols. See if the defense is thrown out again. Doesn't need to this time, but I thought they were going to work together, and Nichols wouldn't look for the inside because they're pretty far behind Elias Roman now. 1.6 second lead. So Nichols wasn't thinking about that at that time. And look at the run that looks like Montello's going to have.
Yeah, hard to defend this one here up the inside, and Murphy might have to concede this one, and he will. Gets into the grass trying to overtake him back. So he'll tuck in. It's going to bring Taggart right into the mix. All the while, Jamison Huffman had a fairly sizable off, one that has put him out of the race, from what I understand. He's going to try to find it and bring it to you, but it's a little bit further back than I was anticipating.
989.
Yep, here he is.
Still nothing happening in the top of the Porsche class, so not missing anything there.
Just gets on the curb and then washes out.
Oh,
and
just
then comes back across the road here. Or I think he just calls
maybe
it
just
a night.
parked it.
Yeah. All right, Michael Montello and Murphy, they were back almost side by side, leaving Moss Corner. Here comes Nichols again.
Steve Nichols. Now they've lost Hal Seal a little bit in that battle. In fact, they've really lost him, but he's still going to go for this battle.
This is fun. Up into turn 8. Got to keep the overlap there, though, and it's just really hard to do that in the front drive layout car. A little lateral slide there by Montello. It's bringing Taggart and then Carwile back into the mix.
Ooh.
And as soon as we get Porsche traffic, it's going to mix this all up again.
It was bump drafting through the corner. That was very tight, but because Montello really hopped the curb harshly, but they make it work, but losing a lot of time to the top two. Elias Roman, Ken Alceel, they almost ran identical laps last time by, and they have pulled away really just a battle between those two at this point, unless third on back gets sorted out, but it's a 4-car battle for third.
And for the lead in the Porsche Cup category, Alessandrini ran down Darling here in traffic, just like I anticipated. The second that they caught traffic, it was going to get very exciting very quickly. Behind him for third, Chrissy and Burkhardt also in a similar predicament, as is Lapras and Jake King.
This is going to be an awkward spot, catching Bob Shoemaker at a bad spot. He's going to have to time this well to get to driver's left, which he does. Very tight for third. They're all bumper to bumper at this point. Alessandrini, contact, Burkhardt and Shoemaker, but they keep it on the road.
It's going to cost Burkhardt a little bit of time, and Darlinger actually read that traffic very nicely and was able to keep DJ from using the lap car as a pick, but I think Paul's got the natural pace to outrun DJ tonight, but it's going to take more than just that. Here's Taggart on Nichols. This is into 8.
Here goes once again. Nichols kind of looks like he might be wearing the tires off, trying too hard, and he's now falling back into the clutches of Taggart because of it. Taggart trying to set him up properly, just hard to do in these cars to actually set up a corner exit. We'll just have to sit in line once more.
And I was perplexed as to why it seemed like these cars run with so much more understeer than they used to, and I was alerted to the fact that, and I had thought that these cars still had an adjustable differential. We run open setups here in this series, but these cars no longer do, the touring cars, in iRacing. When the Audi was the only car they could adjust the differential, you could actually get it to rotate quite nicely, as Alessandrini's got a big run here on Darling. But when they added the other cars as part of a BOP measure, I believe, they basically locked out the differential settings, and the cars kind of chronically understeer, which can be frustrating at times. Getting rotation is half the battle here.
Yeah, definitely tough to do, as Anthony Montello has some trouble rotating, but also just lets Burkhardt and Chrissy by. So it's definitely made it a little bit tougher for those guys. We've seen all season long that understeer is very apparent no matter what track we go to. As Alessandrini tries setting up Paul Darling here, it's just a lot more tough in those TCR classes to get it to rotate, which is why it makes it so hard to really set those passes up as Jay Robinson's off.
Yeah, just a self-spin there at the entrance to turn 3. Carving their way through traffic. That legitimate racing car looks an awful lot like a Ford GT.
Yeah. Oh, look out. Oh, man.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Chrissy and Burkhardt carving their way through traffic in a wild way. Here comes more. This is midfield now. That's the, that treacle? Yes, in the 70.
Oh, wow. Watch this run. I thought Alessandrini might have a run, but not quite. But that helped Burkhardt. Somehow through that, he got the run on Jack Chrissy for third. Third.
And down the inside for third place in the Porsche Cup category. DJ swings to the right of Kiricek. That was almost contact.
No, this won't work. Chrissy has no choice but to back out before they get the Kiricek, which they will. And now Burkhardt and them, they will lose a lot of time. Alessandrini took a look to the inside of Darling in turn 2, but just barely had to lift a little bit.
And Michael Montello dropped behind Murphy Nichols, so give a spot to Murphy. He's back to the podium spot.
No, they're touching actually in turn number 2.
Ooh, this is right ahead of the Porsche leaders too.
That's turn Moss corner, excuse me.
Oh, Michael's really wide there. The Porsche leader's going to get them in a great spot because they're just going to be able to drive by him on the straightaway. One car wide in the background. It's Adam Kobach, I think, in the Honda.
If he kept it straight, though, thought that was worse than it was, but it really wasn't. Alessandrini did not keep with Darling as well as I think he hoped to, as we see 3 wide up the hill, but he will stay with him. Keeping in that toe is incredibly important, and he's done that. That's really all he needs to do.
And clearing this group of cars was pretty important as well, and looks like Christopher Lapras is going to have to contend with them in a much trickier part of the racetrack than leaders caught that group on, so that'll be interesting to watch. But I tell you, Darling's doing a great job dispatching traffic, but some of it's luck, and you can't control it all.
No, it will not. Nothing lasts forever, and certainly that won't either. But he does get by Halcyon at a good time. That will slow up Alessandrini a decent bit out of turn 1, and here comes Burkhardt. He might have a look. No, thinks better of it. That would not have worked.
That was very dicey. Morgan thought better of it and tucks back in. That will diffuse the battle for the top spot. Meanwhile, back in the touring car lead, there's Elias Roman. Going to have the Porsche leader put him a lap down for the first time, and then 2 seconds back, there's Ken Hausiel, kind of in no man's land again. And here comes, well, Burkhardt's through on DJ.
Yes, he has. That was kind of out of nowhere. I think Alessandrini went wide. That corner, what is that, turn 6? It's been a trouble spot more than I thought it would be.
3 right here, but just runs wide. He gathers grass, and off he went.
But that is the advantage of the new grass model.
Yes.
He would have spun completely out, I think, as the run into Moss Corner. This is looking pretty ugly. Oh, Montello's wide, but he keeps it on the track, but he's going to lose a spot to Taggart.
Yeah, Michael Montello's going the wrong direction now, and Ryan Carwile's tracking all these guys down. He dropped 3 spots on the opening lap. He'd like them back. Has work to do, though, in that Hyundai Elantra.
That was just a great run for Darling. He got, once again, we said nothing, no luck lasts forever, but up to a 2nd lead over Burkhardt now, and probably more important for him, Alessandrini back to 3rd, which will make it even more tough to get that position.
Burkhardt's no slouch, though. Give Burkhardt clear racetrack. He's just as fast as DJ Alessandrini. His quickest lap is actually the quickest of anybody in the Porsche category in that 2nd place number 2 car. So Burkhardt is the fastest car on the racetrack, and he has started to eat into that lead just slightly.
Yeah, nowhere near over. Darling's going to have to keep that up somehow. His next course of traffic for the time being is actually going to be a Porsche of Deacon Greenfield, who got a late start, I think, as, look at this, getting by Roman, almost getting the elbows out for this position. This is for about 6th in class. Jake King, a little slower than I thought he might be tonight, but still battling with John Schwartz.
Yeah, battle's pretty tight. This is the one for 7th in class in touring car. Lex Kiricek and Adam Kobach. Kobach also not having the best night. Started 5th, dropped a couple of spots. Right up to the back of that Alpine branded Honda, and look at the run that Kiricek builds on exit. That's such an important corner. In so many ways, it reminds me of Road Atlanta turn 7 because you have to set up that exit. Here comes Jake King to the outside of Schwartz, and might try to cross him over here. Well, and he does. Schwartz is wide.
Yeah, just a little too deep there, and that's going to cost Schwartz the spot, unless he can maybe cross back over, which I think he's going to try to do, but I don't think he'll get the run. Jake King's clear.
Yeah, a little tail wag there as he applied the throttle and just didn't have it balanced quite right. So Jake King up to 6th place.
Just silently sitting there, back to where he started. Actually, Schwartz was up from 9th. Make that only 9th to 8th. Trying to get 9th to 7th, actually, excuse me. Tal Sadiq, kind of run-of-the-mill for him. He seems like wherever he starts, he runs, whether he spins or not. Very consistent driver, and like I said, he is still in 8th as that battle for the lead in Porsche class, still close to a 2nd. Meanwhile, Elias Roman is actually lengthening his gap to Hausiel a little bit.
On to the battle here for 5th between Michael Montello and Ryan Carwile. And for all the battling that Murphy Nichols did early in the race, he seems to have kind of leveled off. He's not really much quicker than Ken Hausiel. He's a little quicker than Roman was last time with some traffic to contend with, but Murphy is notably quicker than pretty much everybody behind him. That will help that situation. Here's Franz Hansen and Justin Huffman trading spots for 10th.
Awkward spot to be trading spots, but the job's done, and Hansen does a good job getting through. After his crash, he's actually made some good time back up into the top 10.
And here goes the battle potentially here. Carwile pushing Michael Montello, maybe working together here, but I don't think there's a lot to be gained like that here at this racetrack. So he's going to swing to left, and we'll see if Montello gives it up. He will not. They'll fight into 8. Look at the little lateral slide there from Carwile. He's still sliding.
He's still
that
sliding.
Thing.
Really working that thing out more than you want to, especially through there.
I said earlier these things have chronic understeer. They do. You really have to have a very particular driving style to get them to kick out like this and control it. These things will swap ends on you pretty quick if you're not careful. The front tires are doing all the work. The rear tires are just there to keep the rear of the car off the ground effectively.
Wow.
Hansen and Harris, that's a little tight down to underneath Carwile. That's going to pause this battle for a while.
Yeah, meanwhile, I thought Alessandrini might stay with Burkhardt. He really has not. It's about a second and a half between the two now. He's actually dropped into the clutches of Jack Chrissy for third, but Chrissy, not much of a run up the straightaway.
Yeah, DJ's pace, not bad on his own, but just not quite the dominance that we'd seen. And this car is one that he clicks very well with. He just has a lot of really good competition in this series, and that's what the SCCA brings in the real world and virtually here. This has probably been one of the most competitive seasons up front that we've had in a league, in this league in half a decade, quite frankly. One of the first leagues we did here on SimTV. I've been doing this over 5 years, and I don't think I've seen a battle like this in a long time at the top of the points.
Well, half a decade in iRacing just doesn't sound right, but yes, that is the case.
Since before day to night. I mean, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time coming. It's a long new grass model was a long time coming.
Yeah. Whoa, DJ using all the road again there at the exit of 3. That's just how much he has to push to find any pace. But seems like he's again struggling running third. I'm not so sure, but he's usually on offense tonight. Decidedly defensive.
Yeah, Franz Hansen got the 9th over at Harris. That was the one battle I saw happen. But yeah, Chrissy, I think, is still trying to work together. I really don't think he has any desire to help, to battle Alessandrini. He just wants to try to get back to those top two, but they're getting further and further ahead.
All the while in touring cars, House Heel's been chipping away at Elias Roman, but no major inroads there. Still 2.5 seconds.
Ooh,
that's
Alessandrini.
the 32. Deacon Greenfield kind of making way here.
Alessandrini was not happy. I think he thought Deacon Greenfield would get out of the way down the straightaway. He did not. He actually hit the brakes on the end of about turn number 8, so he wasn't happy about that, and I think that's why he went wide in the final corner.
Chrissy's still keeping the pressure on here. But
Greenfield and Bruni are off behind those two.
Yeah, both off track together.
Did they on track together?
Come together, or they must have been separate here, just following each other?
Monkey see, monkey do.
I guess so. Both of them straight off the road. Wow. Yeah, that would have been game over with the previous grass, so that's nice that we've had that adjustment.
You'd have thought iRacing just implemented, just the rain started falling with the way they went off track.
Well, we should note that we think this is the last week of racing in the DC Region SCCA Virtual Racing League, that iRacing will not have rain as an option for road races. Obviously, not all the cars, including the touring cars, will have rain tires. Here's a battle for third in Porsches. Chrissy on driver's left, but rain is coming and coming soon.
Not in this race, but definitely in the next week or so, maybe less, as Chrissy just not enough grip on driver's left in that corner to be able to keep the overlap. We've seen it time and time again, no matter the class. So he'll just have to sit in line again. He keeps getting runs, just nowhere to make the move.
All the while, look at the gap between Darling and Burkhardt. It was up to a second. It's now down to just a quarter of a second. So I imagine that Paul has found more traffic, and yes, that's the case. That's the 26 of Bob Shoemaker. And here comes Morgan Burkhardt on the outside. He's going to try to use the 26 as a pick. We're going to go 3 abreast with the Honda in the middle.
That's not going to work. That's not going to work. They might crash.
They crash. Burkhardt's off. Darling's in the grass. And here comes DJ.
DJ just found a lifeline. He's going to get Burkhardt. Paul Darling might keep the lead out of this, though.
He does. Shaking
and they still got to get by Shoemaker.
He's off again.
He's off.
And
now Alessandrini have a lead.
Trying to get grass off the tires and too much. DJ turns the 26. What a lap.
Crazy lap. And it's not over yet. Shoemaker and Burkhardt are almost going to come together, but somehow through all that, Alessandrini to the lead. Bob Shoemaker coming over the radio telling everyone to learn to pass. I can't fully blame him for all of that.
I mean, that was wild. Let's go back and have a look at all that again. But here's Paul just being patient here, looking to the left. Then here comes the 2 to the inside, makes contact with the Honda. They get together, tags the 155. Then Paul warms trying to get the grass off the tires, runs himself off the road here, and then Alessandrini dives up the inside from a long ways back, tags that Honda there, and that was not going to happen. That wasn't going to be a clean pass anyway. That was going to work, but now we recycle everyone back to the front. Alessandrini, Chrissy, Darling, and then Burkhardt still trying to get by the 155. What a lap!
Yeah, the battle for the lead has turned into the battle for third now, as those top two might be the ones to get away. Not sure. I mean, with the way they got hooked, I thought Darling and Burkhardt were done. Looks like maybe some right front fender damage on Darling, but as we see another off track, trying to see who that was.
Adam Kovac hooked the curb and then straight into the concrete. That's game over.
That's definitely game over. But as far as Darling goes, I thought there'd be more damage. The contact looked pretty severe, but slight damage, but it looks mainly cosmetic. I think all these four drivers are still going to be in the battle for the win no matter what. And Christopher Lapras and Jake King also benefit from that too. If they have any long run pace, they could catch up.
Yeah, I don't know. If you give DJ an opportunity like that, he's not going to pass it up. A little contact here between Heidecek and Trent McMillian. Yes, it is, in the red, white, and blue Honda. Now it's getting physical. The first 15, 20 minutes of this race were pretty clean, but we turned up the wick, huh?
Yeah, this is only for 10th in class with Heidecek there, as these top four are all over each other. Paul Darling, Morgan Burkhardt. Burkhardt looks much faster, just needs to find a way to get around or maybe take traffic into play, as Alessandrini has started to put a little bit of a gap on Jack Chrissy.
Yeah, 3.5 tenths of a second. They're going to catch traffic again, but
at least one more time.
Yeah, you give, maybe twice, but you give a leader enough time to think about their decision, and they're less likely to get caught out like Darling did. He just didn't have a lot of time to think about it because Morgan Burkhardt was right there on top of him. So that's the challenge, is if you've got time to plan it, make a decision, you're going to be much better off than if you've got a guy hunting you down and forcing you to make a decision that might be wrong.
Yeah, it's definitely going to kind of decide this race as they go up the inside of Francois Brou. Brou giving a lot of room.
Yeah, he just said, I'm out. See you guys. Let the Porsches through. That's not an expectation, but I think he just did the smart thing and realized this battle is hot. I'm down the order a touch, so maybe I'll concede this for now.
And while this stuff is incredibly crazy still, that battle for the lead in TCR, it has gotten a little bit closer. Halcyon is closing in ever so slightly. Not a battle quite yet, but Halcyon might make it a battle soon enough.
It's so interesting. Every time I've looked at a lap time, Ken's going faster. But it just hasn't... spin! Oh! Darling gets turned!
Darling! Wow,
that was... Mosport. That's a classic Mosport spin right there.
And backed it in dead on the rear end, so that's really going to hurt his performance.
Yeah, this is the classic...
This is the classic move, yeah. They kind of turned into him, too.
That's hard to... Looking from high above here. I mean, this is always a surprise. That's tough. I don't know how I would call that, but it's that corner is designed to do that, and it does it every race here. I don't care what you're racing, bicycles. It just that corner is designed to wreck cars, and it does a great job at doing that.
Yeah, to me, it just looked like Burkhardt kind of missed the turn-in point, trying to get his best apex possible, and just wasn't able to really recover before he creamed out Paul Darling. So unfortunately, that battle's over. It's turned into just a 3-car battle for this Porsche lead for the time being, as a few other Porsches, Jake King and John Schwartz, dart out of traffic. Yeah,
Darling down to 7th place. It's going to be hard to bounce back from that. Jack Chrissy is keeping up with Alessandrini. He's not let him get away. The key part here, we saw DJ crack under pressure a bit. You just have to be close enough that he doesn't have unlimited time to make decisions in traffic, like I said. If you can just stay in the rear view and be within a couple tenths of a second. Ooh, little wobble there for Chrissy. You're going to be able to force that desperation, and that's what gets the leader in trouble.
And if the rears are going to fall off, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle to do so in dirty air. It's really going to let Burkhardt have a little bit of a look as they get through Lex Kiricek. And not too far from now, probably the next minute or so, they're going to catch heavy TCR traffic, which could, once again, throw a wrench at things. And likely won't be the last time they encounter that traffic specifically.
No, it's not. Nothing super on fire as far as battles in TCR. We'll take you there if we see them. This is the most volatile fight that we've had all day. And the top 3 just under a blanket here. You wanted competition, you got it here. The DC Region SCCA Virtual Racing League will pass and shuffle back there as King goes by Lapras.
Yeah, Lapras missed the corner. John Schwartz was not happy with his rejoin, but either way, no contact was made. It's another position change there. Roman Halcyon. Halcyon was even with Elias Roman this time by. That gap is almost below a second. It is a second.
And that's within drafting range now, and Ken has been consistently quicker, and when they've got the traffic quickly approaching on them, it's going to mix things up here. Alessandrini's behind some TCR traffic. Here comes Chrissy with the run, but where do you go?
Nowhere to go. They got to pass Michael Montello and then Taggart up the road, so stay in the line. That was a very dramatic moment.
Well, watch that.
Chrissy gets through.
I just watched that curve that we saw earlier with Kobach, that you can catch that and swing back across the road. That's going to very much hurt Chrissy. On Taggart here.
Taggart closed the door, kind of surprised, but it's his race. He can do whatever he wants with it, and that is going to hurt Chrissy, and Burkhardt's going to have a run for second. Here he goes.
And I'd almost let Burkhardt go here at this stage because you're battling at a very critical time in this race through traffic with the leader getting away. They're going to touch. That was so close. Burkhardt around the outside at 4, and he's through to second.
And this could be what DJ needs to get away for good, breaking the draft. It could be the moment right here because Burkhardt gets held up big time by Murphy Nichols, and Jack Chrissy loses out big time because of it as well.
Yeah, he's out of drafting range, but I think he's got pace on DJ. Let's see if it comes back to him. Meanwhile, Lapras, Schwartz, Jake King battle for 4th and heating up.
Yeah, I thought I heard King over the radio saying he might be short on fuel. We'll just have to see how long he can go, but if he's short on fuel, you'd think he'd be behind these guys, but he's not. Maybe just running as hard as he can go as they try to navigate Murphy Nichols. Nichols kind of throwing the Ryan Newman type blocks. Not actually blocking.
No, he's just
car's very wide.
Yeah, he's in his zone right now because he's just trying to click off laps. I don't think he's going to catch Ken. I don't think he's going to drop down to Taggart as long as he plays his cards right. And
it is very real, that battle for TCR lead. It is going to get real in the next maybe 3 laps or so. Ken Alseal is there.
And Ken's not going to lean over for DJ here because he's in this battle. This is not what DJ needs. Morgan made up half a second through turns 1 and 2 that time.
But this will be good for DJ, especially if he can get by Elias Roman, which he will.
On the outside.
I'm not sure. He's going to have to swing back to the inside. Alessandrini lost big here.
Yeah, that was a great opportunity for Burkhardt. He's got DJ right in the crosshairs now, throttling up past the TCR leader. It's going to kind of stunt Ken's opportunity here for a moment, but now Burkhardt's going to have the draft.
And they've left Jack Chrissy a little bit. He's going to have to work extra hard to get back to them. So we'll see Burkhardt swing drivers left. It has not worked yet today from the moves we've seen drivers make. We'll see how far he wants to send it in. He's got overlap.
Here we go into turn 8. Around the outside here, he's going to be able to keep the overlap as well if he just keeps the nose in there. Not quite. DJ's able to slam the door.
And now he's going to have to, regroup and make sure the tires are okay after a move out of the groove like that. He's able to stay with him. That'll help Chrissy a little bit, keep him in distance just a little bit. As that other group, 4th through 6th, snakes by Murphy Nichols at this point. And Elias Roman still hanging on, and letting this traffic go is really helping Roman get that lead back out. Now Lapras and Schwartz are side by side in turn 2.
Oh, that's almost contact there. Lapras trying to sneak around. They're going to use this Hyundai as a pick. And Lapras has to give it up. That's going to help Ken because Elias had to hold it tight on entry here. It's going to gain Ken 2 or 3 tenths of a second.
Yep, and he is going to be so close to being able to get good enough slipstream to maybe have a look up into turn 8, but just not quite yet.
Big gains for the Honda on the brakes. Look at how much he reeled in.
Oh, he's there. That was a big gain.
Yeah, I think the Hyundai would probably have the advantage on the straightaway here, which is going to make this a hard sell for me. This Honda's just going to drive by. There goes Paul Darling. But Roman, weaving a little bit, feels the pressure from that trailing Honda.
Jack Chrissy just asked over the radio if this is a 45-minute race.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
That might be another driver that got caught out by the fueling situation here. Longer race than normal.
We'll have to see, because he's going to stay out another lap, so not an issue yet, but seems like a bunch of people are caught by surprise. As Alseal now working over Elias Roman. Yeah,
and Ken, who operates this league for the most part, he does weekly supporting documents every week. You got to read them because this has been on the schedule for a while. So if you fueled your car for 30 minutes, you're not going to make it to the end.
No, not even close. Whoa. I would say as they're both off wide. Another case of just anything you do, I'm just going to do as well.
Jake King.
Totally the same.
And John Schwartz. How about the 27 and the progress he's made? 9th to 4th place.
Yeah, incredible drive for him so far. Roman is sideways off of turn 3 in the background behind this battle. He's going to keep that lead for now.
For now, but he does not have a big one. It is gone.
Yeah. And it was a pretty sizable lead, too. It was up, I think, 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, more than that even at some points. But where do you find an opportunity to pass? That's what's so challenging about Mosport. Turn 8 is your best chance, and if your car is a little bit down on horsepower or a little draggier than the car ahead of you, it becomes a very difficult task to make this pass. Traffic ahead for the leaders in Porsche Cup.
Shoemaker as well again.
And if there was brakes to cut, he's not doing it anymore. Swing to the right.
It's going to lose some time. Not Chrissy, but Burkhardt could not have a look there. But they're going to catch Schumacher in that weird kind of spot.
Same thing.
Oh, he hit the brakes. Burkhardt couldn't capitalize.
Yeah, just not the right timing here, but he has got DJ in the crosshairs and is ready to take the shot. He just needs a better opportunity. To the outside at turn 3. Can he try to just get overlap there? He can't. And the lead battle in TCR is hot as well.
Excuse me, he could have a look in the 5 here, though. He looks driver's right. Burkhardt. This would be a daring pass if he could do it, but no grip out there.
I don't think you can make that stick.
Roman is just both these guys are just both leaders are holding on for dear life.
Yeah, this is great stuff, though. I tell you, this racetrack does not disappoint. Here's Ken trailing Elias by a bumper width, if that.
If that.
And the lead in Porsche Cup. Under attack.
We'll see how tight. He's got to hold DJ especially tight if he wants to make this move work. Roman's still in the lead, not missing anything there. Burkhardt tries it. You do not have the grip out there.
Yeah, what else can you try, though, right? You can try to fake DJ out to the left and maybe try to sneak up the inside, but he's not going to fall for that. Little curb jump there for DJ. That's not going to be helpful. Grab some grass as well. 12 minutes to go.
And Jack Chrissy is in the pit lane from 3rd.
That's unfortunate.
I feel like that outside move in 8's not going to work. You almost have to lay on his bumper, maybe shove him, kind of shove him into a corner. Not physically, but like get close to his bumper, maybe take air off of him and try just to get him uneasy into that corner and maybe open the door. As speaking of
bumpers,
kind of pushing, yeah. This is great stuff.
This is phenomenal racing tonight. This is just absolutely spectacular. And the wild card of the traffic is just enough to keep things interesting at the front.
I would not rule out Murphy Nichols as well, as Chrissy comes off a pit road just in front of these guys.
Yeah, if these guys tangle, it could be game over. But Ken seems pretty calculated tonight. He hasn't made any lunges that would be an unrealistic passing opportunity. He's waiting for the right moment to strike, and it's not happened yet.
Little run, not quite yet there. Meanwhile, Porsche lead. Burkhardt swings out again, but does not go to driver's left of DJ. Just going to stick in line with 11 minutes to go, running out of options.
Are you just biding your time right now, waiting for the traffic again? Because otherwise, the pass seems almost impossible.
Might have to. I don't see any place. He's not getting close enough in the right places to be able to make this move, and just running out of options. So he might have to wait on traffic for something to happen, something to pop up, because anytime he goes offline to try to make that move on DJ, the grip isn't there, and he loses more time than what he would have if he just stays in line. As Halcyon, kind of in the same situation, kind of just trying to find an open lane, but whenever he tries something different, it's not there. But these things can maneuver a little bit more, so it's not as bad. As you can see him still gain.
Yeah, they're just a bit more finicky to carry speed the right way. But that time, a really nice run through 9 and 10 for Elias. Franz
Hansen crash in Moss Corner, and that's his second of the day, unfortunately, and it hurt the rear end this time.
Yeah, that's pretty sizable damage, actually. Let's see what happened. It's kind of on his own, and I'll bet you just climbs the curbing right there. And the 528 of Sawicki was also off again.
I thought he hit the rear end, but maybe not. It looks a little dinged in, and he just came out in front of that battle for Porsche lead.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I think Morgan would do well just to sit back here for a minute and wait for the opportunity. You're going to catch some traffic again. You just have to be ready to pounce. You don't want to spend half the lap making up the ground that you lose in turn 8 and then miss that opportunity.
It's so frustrating. I can imagine just not much you can do about it, as I don't think we've had it this season yet where we've had great battles, but I don't think we've had a time at this season where both battles with 10 minutes to go were bumper to bumper.
I think we've had opportunities like that were fleeting, but not persistent, chronic battles. Here comes Ken with a big run for the first time. He's going to try this outside move for real. Here he comes alongside Elias Roman. It's easier to pinch in the TCRs.
Almost making contact, but not quite.
Oh, they're going to make contact. There they go.
Oh, they're going to crash hard. Roman's destroyed, but it's going to be Halcyon staying online and keeping the lead somehow, and Nichols is going to go up in a second, and that's not going to go over well.
No, that is big damage on Elias Roman's car. That car is not going anywhere.
That's not the first time Roman's been taken out late either. It's been that type of season for him.
Yeah,
but you could see how Seal getting close with the side draft.
Yeah, does Roman track out? No, I don't think Ken gave him enough space there. That's going to get him into trouble, I think. But while all that's going on, back for the lead in Porsches. Less than 0.2 of a second and deep into traffic. Here is the opportunity Burkhardt's been waiting for.
But he has nowhere to go. Driver's left. It might hurt him through the corner a little bit even, but he does keep with DJ as they get by McMillian as well, who we haven't talked about a lot. And now it's clear traffic after this. You have to wait a little bit longer until you get the treacle, Kirachek, and more.
Yeah, this is why you just have to be ready to pounce, because you're not going to get to choose where you catch that traffic. You just have to be ready to take advantage of it when it does. Under 8 minutes to go here. And Nichols, for second in TCR, is now fighting back Darian Taggart and Michael Montello. So the battle for second is on in touring car.
Yeah, lost all the time the last lap. I think probably just because in shock from what happened in front of him maybe, but we're back to a 3-car battle for that runner position. Michael Montello is still lingering after he kind of fell off middle portion. He's back up there.
Battle for a podium right ahead of him. That's the spot he needs. Look at the, Murphy's really struggling with the turn into 8, and so is Montello. Maybe the Honda's a little nicer to the tires over the course of the race.
Definitely could be playing a factor.
7 minutes to go.
Grass is being used now.
That sure is. More traffic on the horizon here for Burkhardt.
We got Treacle and Kirachek. We're going to catch Shoemaker again. Then you might have some Porsches and Bruni and Jay Robinson as well. But other than that, they might not catch that battle for second in TCR.
Yeah, if they were to catch that battle, that's when I think this lead would almost certainly swap. There's just nowhere to go. Burkhardt closes in slightly here.
It's going to have to be something daring. I just don't know if Morgan Burkhardt wants to put this battle in jeopardy like that. This could...
had to shallow up there. Alessandrini did for the 67.
The exit's going to hurt Burkhardt.
Yeah.
And then Shoemaker, and then they might catch Nick Bruni, Jay Robinson. Not for a position between those two.
0.4 of a second. That's the largest the lead has been for DJ. It's not a lot to look at. 2 car lengths maybe. And they're going to catch the 26 easily on the straightaway here.
Yeah, DJ's out of the realm of possibility right now.
They are going to catch this other battle. The one for second in class.
Yeah, they are catching them a little faster than I thought. We'll see how much of a factor it plays, but even if they catch it at a good spot for Morgan, Morgan's got to be a little bit closer so he can capitalize a little bit easier. He's losing maybe a little bit more than he wants. Meanwhile, this battle's still going on in turn 1.
He is absolutely pounding on the door of second place.
Yeah, that was incredible. They had to. They actually might have hit each other because Nathan Brackman was getting out of their way.
And in the rear view, Porsche's looming. Behind this, through turn 2.
The gap is getting stretched even more.
Yeah, Burkhardt might have used up all his tire, but he's going to have another shot if he knows that he can see that relative and knows that there's cars coming. It's got to just save a little bit more.
I hope they stay clumped up like this, as Nichols is just holding on for dear life at this point.
And if they catch him on a straightaway, it's a moot point. Well, that was a good gain there for Morgan in the braking zone, but then loses on exit.
Yeah, they won't catch him here. They'll get by Brackman and Carwile. They might not get Carl. They get Brackman, but I don't think they're going to catch these guys at a very good spot.
No, they're going to get him in the sweeping side of the racetrack. 1 through 5.
Well, we've seen trouble in 2 and 3 already.
Morgan, he's going to get trapped behind Carwile here. No, maybe not. He's going to get through Carwile. That was a critical moment. Jump on board the second place car as they approach this traffic. That's the battle here. It's going to be between turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, and they're side by side for that position now. Not quite.
Here comes DJ. Morgan's got to time this right. He's got an opportunity here. Which way do you go? He's going to have to follow DJ. DJ splits the difference down the inside.
That was incredible, DJ able to do that. Now he's going to get to the inside of Murphy. Nichols, no, the bump goes to Alessandrini, and Burkhardt's through.
That was insane. Burkhardt takes the lead away, past Murphy Nichols for second in the touring car category, but for the lead in Porsches.
Morgan Burkhardt, you better run. That's all I got to say.
Go, go, go. We are looking at that pass later on this replay.
Oh,
Taggart and Montello.
Oh, DJ will not let that go. Burkhardt sideways off the corner. It's going to give DJ another run back.
Yeah, it's a big run, too. It's going to be hard to keep him from getting full overlap here. Morgan, he's going to use him as a pick. He's going to use Bruni as a pick here.
Where does Bruni go? He's nowhere to move at this point. He's going to hit the brakes. They get by him barely.
3 wide. DJ's got the outside lane here. Oh, that was a great entry to turn 8.
He's got him back, I think.
And he will, but he's not clear. He's not clear. Here comes Morgan back down the inside. 3 minutes to go. Battle for the lead is still on.
DJ's loose.
This is phenomenal.
That was incredible recovery by Burkhardt. I thought that corner was lost. That lead was lost. DJ, I think, is going to struggle with that damage. They both have damage. DJ's got rear end damage, and Burkhardt's front end's pretty messed up.
Big dive down here into turn 2. Morgan has got to not mirror drive. He's got to plan his attacks here on the touring car traffic. There's still plenty of it to go. This next car is your leader in touring cars. DJ's to the rear. He tried to give him the bumper. He just could not lay it down.
Yeah, he tried. He definitely tried to get him back, but that might have hurt him more than helped him. Now he's got to recover in only 2.5 minutes time to try to get back slipstream here.
Haustiel just moved over. He didn't want any part of that.
I can't blame him.
Now there's some Porsche traffic. It's not over yet. Let's keep that clear. 2 laps to go next time by. And lots of traffic still to contend with, most of which is Porsche traffic, which is harder to get by.
Hey, look who they're passing. Elias Roman. Oh, don't get in front of DJ.
I didn't know Elias was even still rolling.
I wonder why he's still rolling.
Oh boy. I wouldn't pull that on the league admin. That doesn't seem like a smart idea.
No, it doesn't. But you never know. As Burkhardt by Jay Robinson. Robinson really holding up Alessandrini here in the final 2 corners. But I think DJ's still in the range, not over yet. He actually didn't lose as much as I thought he would.
2 laps to go. 1:40 left on the clock.
This is this is incredible stuff, and it's nowhere near done quite yet. That battle for second TCR, Nichols has pulled about a second gap, but Montello is not out of Darian Taggart's range just as easy.
This is probably the best race of the season, regardless of how it ends now. That was just a phenomenal lap. That was lap 32 of this 35-lap race.
Yeah, definitely bookmark it. We'll definitely look at that. Still so many battles to go. DJ just kind of struggling to get back into that range. He needs a big gain on this next lap.
Here's Paul Darling trying to get back on the podium here for 3rd.
Yeah, didn't really mention it, but John Schwartz, because of the fuel issues with Jake King and Chrissy, he's gotten onto the podium, but now he's got to hold on in front of Darling and Lapras.
Yeah, Darling just trying to salvage something after the contact earlier in the battle for the lead. And this battle, I think, is going to be the hottest one on the final lap. Morgan Burkhardt, 0.6 of a second clear. And he is just hoping and praying. He's got mostly clear track ahead of him. He shouldn't run into any major traffic, but he's just got to hit his marks. DJ is not going to let him have this one easy.
He's pushing hard. DJ was into that second to last corner. He gained a pretty good chunk out of it, but sideways off the final corner.
This is time to flog your tires. If you have any grip left in those tires, you have to use it now. And in the touring car class, Haustiel takes the white. Murphy Nichols, Michael Montello, and Darian Taggart, and Ryan Carwile. This is a battle for 3rd in class.
Yeah, this battle's going to go to the end. Yeah, that grass is going to have a groove worked into it with how those guys have been going off every single lap. Bumper to bumper. Once again, DJ gaining. It's under half a second. It won't be close enough for a move in the turn 5, though.
Here's Darling on Schwartz. Had overlap entering 3, but had nowhere to go with it.
Not quite. I don't think he'll be close enough for a move there as well. Alessandrini did a good job gaining, but it's just not going to be close enough. Here goes Darling, but nowhere here. But can he make that outside move in turn 8?
We're going to come back to it out front. Morgan Burkhardt and DJ Alessandrini, they fought tooth and nail, splitting traffic, over-unders, in between, upside down. It just has been a wild battle at the top of the order here. At the tail end of this one, Alessandrini is close. Can he send one final move here into the last corner?
He might make a move.
He's going to try. Morgan Burkhardt covers it off. Checkered flag. Morgan Burkhardt wins at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Alessandrini second. Schwartz and Darling final corners.
Schwartz is going to go protective. Darling will try that over-under move that we've seen a lot. He'll have the run. It's going to be side by side. I think Schwartz is going to get him. Yes, he does.
Here's Ken Hauseal, checkered flag in the touring car category after dramatic crash earlier. Hauseal, first place in touring cars. Murphy Nichols second. For third, it is a hornet's nest back here. Michael Montello's going to snag it. Then it's Taggart, Carwile, the rest of your top 5.
And right next to them, Talas Sadiq keeps Jack Chrissy behind him for the 6th position as they crash after the line a little bit. Dare I say, race of the season?
Absolutely.
That was incredible.
Here's this amazing slice and dice that Alessandrini did. Watch this.
Yeah, this was the move for the win. They caught the trap, got a good time. This was a great move by Alessandrini to make that move, but it just wasn't enough because Murphy Nichols does not give him the lane. He has to check up. Burkhardt, nothing he could really do there because the stack was just that bad, but it was a little bit of beating and banging that we saw last night come into play tonight.
Yeah, this was just poetry in motion, this first move. It's almost a shame that it didn't he wasn't able to hang on to it after this because of how impressive that move was. But Morgan read this well. He followed DJ through it, which is probably as impressive. And then watch this as, again, nothing that that Murphy did wrong. He's just running his line, and it just so happened that DJ had to check up mid-corner, and that's what did him in. Just all about timing, and he just didn't have it here.
And nothing Burkhardt can do really here either. DJ slams on the brakes to make sure he doesn't turn Murphy Nichols, and Burkhardt just has no time to react. Definitely not. I'm sure it wasn't how he wanted to get it. DJ tried to give it back to him 2 or 3 times, but it ends up being the winning move regardless. That
was phenomenal stuff. Let's have a look at our race results here, Connor, and break it all down for you with the post-race interviews. Morgan Burkhardt, DJ Alessandrini, John Schwartz, your top 3. Then Paul Darling salvages a 4th, Lapras 5th, and Sadiq Chrissy, King, Harris, and Huffman, the rest of your top 10.
Definitely a shaken up top 10 after Jack Chrissy, Jake King with fuel issues. You got to remember it's a 45-minute race, but they still recover 7th and 8th. Robinson, Hansen had a few issues tonight after driving back up to about 7th. And then Sawicki and Nick Bruni a few laps down, rounding out the Porsche class that ended up finishing the race.
And then in the touring cars, Hauseal wins that one by about 9.5 seconds after contact with Elias Roman. Sure, there'll be a discussion about that one post-race. Murphy Nichols, Michael Montello, Taggart, and Carwile, the rest of your top 5. Lex Kirchek, 6th place. He had some great battles with Treacle and McMillian in this race. So did Heidechek in the number 22. Elias Roman, 11th place. Disappointing night for him.
Yeah, definitely going to be disappointed and upset about that. It's at least the 2nd time that's happened to him. I think we think back to Sebring. I think he and Montello had contact that took him out of contention for the win. So it's been a theme for his season, unfortunately. He has the speed. It just has not gone his way at times this season. A few more finishers, Schumacher, Brackman, Kobach, and Anthony Montello had a rough night as well.
Yeah, then Ryan Kristoff, we saw that big crash earlier in the tangle up with Heidechek. And Mike Kelly did not take the green, and neither did Ryan Maloney. Whew. All right, let's talk to a couple drivers here in this one. Let's start with Michael Montello, 3rd place in the touring car category. Our perspective, just race of the season all around. It was fun to watch, Michael, but you slid back earlier and ended up finishing back on podium after all of that. Eventful evening. Take us through your perspective out the windshield of your Hyundai.
Yeah, I probably have some incidents in front of me to thank for that. But no, I started out really good on the cold tires. I think I had a lot more confidence than most of the people around me. And then as soon as they got sort of warm, then all of my confidence fell away and I started driving terrible. It took me until about 25 minutes in to get the confidence back. And then I think at one point I might have been the fastest car on track. And and then I think Murphy and Darian, their tires may have gone off a little bit faster than mine. And then we all just sort of converged in the middle. And then it was like 10 minutes of the most stressful racing I've ever been a part of. I just about lost the car every lap for 10 minutes straight, it felt like.
Yeah, it was a wild couple of laps there, especially at the end with the Porsche traffic coming through. All in all, an interesting night. Down to 6th, then back up to 3rd, Michael. A lot of stuff happening out the windshield and in the rear view, but nice job tonight finishing on the podium.
Yeah, thanks just to have made it through the entire race. So that's an accomplishment in and of itself. Thanks,
I think others feel the same. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah.
And Ken Hauseal wins the TCR race tonight by 9.5 seconds. Ken, this was, without a doubt, the race of the season. The Porsche Cup battle was absolutely phenomenal. The two CRs had some great fights as well. You got tangled up there with Elias, and kind of his night ended effectively there, but you were able to hang on to the lead and bring home another one.
Yeah, I want to apologize to Elias. That wasn't the cleanest move. I thought he was going to turn in more and ride more of that curb, but he didn't. And then we hooked, and iRacing said said no more. But up until that point, it was really fun. There was some traffic early, but I think Elias and I got affected by it pretty equally. He had a little bit of a gap, and then I reeled him in. So that was really rewarding. The car really came alive like midway through the race and towards the end. My fastest lap was at the end. So I think I had the pace. Like I said, unfortunate tango with Elias. We were having quite the battle with some little booping here and there. So it was really fun until that. So.
Yeah, I mean, throughout all the dramas that we had up and down the order, watching you run down and chase down Elias was pretty thrilling stuff. So, Ken, congratulations on that, and go back and watch this one. It was awesome.
Will do. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And we got Morgan Burkhardt here, the winner in the Porsche Cup category. Man, what a last couple of laps. That was phenomenal. DJ made some wizardry pass there through the TCR traffic. You were able to follow him through it and then steal the lead away through turn 2. Take us through that pass in particular, then hold him off the last few laps.
Yeah, no, I was kind of catching him a little bit. He was faster in spots and I was faster in spots, and kind of just through the benefit of the draft, I was able to stick right on his bumper for a lot of the last few laps. And then I don't know how he does it, honestly, but he finds gaps that don't really exist going through traffic and makes it stick. And my whole kind of mentality was just stick on his bumper. I can't let him leave. And this one in particular was like, close your eyes, pray. I had no idea what was going to happen. Yeah, the needle, there's no space for error there. It's crazy. And then he kind of held up there, and I was able to sneak through and get the benefit there and just use the draft to stay in front and make sure that I white lined it down the final corner for the last lap.
Yeah, it was so much fun to watch. And I have to ask, I mean, you've been in some really great battles here in iRacing the last couple of months in a variety of different series. Where did the heart rate stack up in this battle on the tail end of this race?
This has got to be up there, if not the highest one that I've had. I like the Spec Miata and a bunch of the other series that I do. It's all one car, so it's all pretty predictable. But when you throw two very different cars into it, you can't really predict it. And if you do predict it, it doesn't really go well. So you have to just drive on instinct, and that for me it's awesome. I really like this combination. I know a lot of other people don't like it, but the way that you have to drive and really just drive on instinct and make moves like that to make it stick it's unreal. Like the heart rate, my hands were like cramped up for most of it. I'm sweating. It's a lot of work.
Well, a lot of work, and it paid off tonight, Morgan. Congratulations. Win that race by 0.3 of a second, but I'm sure it felt like even less than that. Congratulations and good job. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
All right, we got Murphy Nichols here joining us tonight. And Murphy, for a lot of this race, at the very beginning, you were kind of in no man's land after you kind of promoted up into second place. And then, all of a sudden, on defense for the rest of the race. You play defense very, very well. So much fun to watch, but a second, very rewarding night for you in that number 5 Hyundai Veloster.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely nice to finish on the podium again, especially in second. I think this is my best result of the season, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not going to complain about that. It's just, I was talking to the guys in the green room. Like, it's funny. Like, I don't feel like I have the pace to fight with Ken or Elias. But then as soon as like Darian and them get in a scrap, it's like I just get stuck in no man's land. So it's like, all right, I mean, I'll chill here. Like, I'm in a good point spot. So it's like, I'm not going to complain about it. But it's like the racer in me also was like, I'd like to race somebody. But then it got a little bit exciting. I had a big slide going through one of the last corners with a couple laps ago. So then they all started to get on my bumper. So I was like, okay, now we're fighting a little bit. But it's just like with these cars, you just got to be so perfect with them. And one small mistake, you're either gone or you're right back in a fight.
Yeah, it was so much fun to watch, though, Murphy. Congratulations on a job well done. And repping the Veloster, the one and the only, showing it's got some performance left on the table, and you certainly did that tonight.
Thank you, guys.
And DJ Alessandrini finishes second in this race. Hi, DJ. From our perspective, that was the race of the season. I'm sure maybe you're a little frustrated with how the tail end of that went, but can we just go back and look at this pass? It was right before you got past, but this was unbelievable. Through the center, 3 wide, on the traffic. This is crazy stuff, DJ. Take us through, the battle for the lead, getting kind of shuffled back in traffic, coming back through it, holding off Morgan Burkhardt, getting kind of pushed around here and trapped behind traffic, and then just trying to run him back down. That had to be fun.
Yeah, Mosport's kind of a pain in the butt to pass people on. So when he got in front of me there, I was like, oh, crap, I don't know how I'm going to get this. I almost made it stick around the outside that one time, but I think we had some net code going into the last corner. I liked my chances of hanging it around the outside of one. I was fully prepared to go full safari to keep the inside for turn 2, so I would have been able to get the position back. But I just couldn't keep the safari hat on. I kind of ran a little wide in the last corner. But yeah, I thought that maybe there would be a lane there, and then Murphy, the guy in the TCR right there, he doesn't love life as much as I thought he would, so he came down.
That's a great way of putting that.
He's gonna be conservative here, and if you go cockpit camera, you'll see like exactly what I saw. I'm like okay, because he pushes wide, and I'm like, all right, oh no. And then I got shoved by Morgan. I had to just gather it up.
Yeah, what an intense series of corners there. I have 3 replay bookmarks from that corner as I was trying to catch all of it while it was happening. Super fun to watch though, DJ, and a great fight between you and Morgan. And Paul, unfortunately, had the loop around that dumped him down into traffic, but he was able to rebound for 4. So all in all, super entertaining night, and that had to just be so much fun. I asked Morgan where his heart rate was at and how that ranked, and he said it was up there.
I could tell it was up there. I could see elevated heart rate Morgan driving that car. So I thought I had a chance, but I just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, it's a hard place to pass, but it came up one spot short. DJ, thanks for talking. Livery looks great, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Kyle.
All right, Connor. Wow, fun night, and it has not been a season without a lot of fun. It has just been there's been dramatic nights for sure. This was one of them, but I think everyone kind of walked away with that. Maybe Elias Roman got the shortest end of the stick tonight. He was really in a great spot to win this race, and just kind of ended up getting turned around. I think when Ken looks back on that, I think he would have wished he gave him a bit more space. He did apologize, but you have to feel for Elias there.
Yeah, it's not the first time it's happened this season. Just something about I don't even know what to say about it. It's kind of heartbreaking at the same time. He could have a couple more wins this season if neither incident happened here and at Sebring. Tough season, but we know he has the speed, so he'll be back next week for sure when we have a little bit of a shorter race. But what a race of the season in both classes. Incredible racing all around. Probably the closest battle for the win in Porsche class all season long, beating out the finish we had at Road Atlanta, which was pretty incredible as well. So very excited to go into next week. Should be a lot of fun, just like this was.
Well, we go from one of the fastest and most flowing racetracks on the calendar to the smallest and tightest. Mosport this week, Lime Rock next. That'll be a lot of fun to watch. Then VIR is our last points-paying race of the season on December 13th before a fun race on the 20th. That's going to do it for us here tonight on SimTV. Thanks so much for joining us, watching it, and being a part of it. From Bowmanville, Ontario, here in iRacing, Kyle Heyer and Connor Horn alongside you. We'll see you next time.